Hi, I'm Nikki Woods, and we are going beyond the studio with Judge Lauren Lake, who is bringing us a new version of a court TV show with a special twist. Tell us about it.
Well, Nikki, I'm so proud of this show. It's called Paternity Court, and so obviously it combines elements of paternity with our established court genre style of show. So basically, we are using scientific DNA evidence to empower families to let go of secrets, let go of shame, past struggles, and move forward in the light, in the truth.
So now, I actually wrote a blog post about this on blackamericaweb.com because we are so fascinated with this kind of stuff. Like, we want to know whose baby is it, and they don't have nothing to do with us, but we're so concerned with it. Why are people so fascinated with looking at other people's stories on TV?
This particular issue, I believe people are so fascinated because it really is this dirty little secret that in America we have not wanted to talk about. And many of us, most of us, I would even say, have been affected in our families or even in our larger circles with issues regarding paternity. But we don't want to talk about. Historically, it's been a secret. These are issues you don't talk about. And so as we've seen shows begin to address this issue, everyone goes, oh, let me tune in. This is interesting, or this is funny. But really, I think the real truth is people are tuning in because they say, hey, this has happened in my family. This has happened to a friend of mine. I know of a person who thinks someone is their father, but everyone in the community knows that's not their father. And people, I don't even know if we can say they necessarily enjoy watching people's pain or people's struggle, but I think people relate to families dealing with this issue.
And I know you made a good point. There was one case that I watched where it's been like 27 years, and she lied about the father because she didn't want her mom to know that she may have been having relations with more than one person. And now 27 years later, they're trying to figure out who the real father is. And you were like, this is before Facebook and Twitter. We may have known if Twitter had been around.
You're right. We live in an age right now, Nikki, where everybody tells all their business. Something happens to me, I'm upset. Let me get on Facebook. I am so mad because, or, I don't know something about my family history. Let me post it on Facebook. But there are paternity secrets that have been going on for years because, and I talk about this in that particular episode, that particular case, I had to say, there was a time when a young girl got pregnant and she wasn't married. She'd disappear down south or go somewhere and nobody'd see her for a summer or for a while. And she'd come back, she'd be back together again, nobody knew. And where was that baby? Somebody else in the family that maybe couldn't have children or could afford to take care of that child would then take that child, raise that child as their own, and there would be no talk of it. What we see in that particular episode as well is that there are generational cycles of this, where you look at a mother and she comes into court and you feel like maybe this woman is a villain and you say, how could she never tell her child who their father was? But as I begin to dig deeper in her story, what we come to realize is that that mother never knew who her father was because her mother never told her, because maybe it was a child that wasn't born during a marriage and there was shame attached to it. Or, as in this case, she was fearful that her parents would reject her and would reject that child. So instead, I found another man that was willing to raise this child as his own. And I got married. I did what I thought it was, I was supposed to do. And I made the best life I could for my child. What we're finding out daily in our courtroom, Nikki, is that people do the wrong things sometimes for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And that hurt, it's still real for our litigants. The pain is still so raw. And yet when you get behind the layers, you see, I made a decision out of love. I made a decision out of fear. I made a decision because I was desperate and I didn't know what to do. I had to make a call and I did, but it wasn't based in truth.
And I have to ask you because, you really, I mean, it's a powerful, powerful, I guess, testimony to the pain that we, and I probably more so as a people, suffer than maybe some other people. And it seems that you really have your heart in the right place in bringing these stories to light, that you really want to empower, you really want to heal, and you really want to just help people learn the truth. But I guess my question is, in a day and age when drama is what sells, some of these shows, how are you going to be able to keep that on track so that that is the focus but still win?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that because, I have been a proponent of families my entire career. I mean, as a family attorney, I've been to your family reunions and participated in those. I would not be a part of a project that did not represent families appropriately and, truly want to empower them. What we've seen in this particular setting is that these issues cross racial backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds. There are no boundaries. Families are dealing with this issue across the board. And so I take it very, very seriously. And ultimately, what I let everyone know is I am running a courtroom and not a circus. And I have had to tell people, you do not come here to clown. And you know me, you've been knowing me for years. The way I see it. You are not going to come into my courtroom and clown around when a child's paternity or issues regarding their parents, their who they belong to is at stake. I will not have it. Now, let me really keep it real. The people are colorful oftentimes. The stories can be outrageous. And you know what? A lot of times people walk into our courtroom and when they begin to tell their stories, our first instinct is to sit back and go, oh, now she crazy. This don't make any sense. 13 possible fathers for one child? This doesn't make any sense. But again, as judge of that courtroom, it is my job. It is my responsibility to look at that woman and meet her where she is. And before I judge her life, what I instead do is focus on her actions. Ma'am, this sounds outrageous. How could you get yourself? What has happened in your life where you have arrived at a point that when your young daughter asks you who her father is, you've got 13 names to give her. And honestly, I address it the way I would any client, any person I am coaching, any person I am trying to inspire. That I need to understand where you've been, to understand how you got where you are, and more importantly, Nikki, so that I can find some tools to help empower you, that we can start new, that you can move forward in a better way. Because this courtroom is about bringing families together, about breaking cycles, and about empowering people to live better lives. When you leave my courtroom, I want you to leave better than the way you came in.
And you know what? And that's why it was so important for me to talk to you. Because I think that when people first see, paternity court, they're thinking like another version, of Maury Povich or something like that. But I think that once people see you and they see your passion and they see your just your determination to make sure that people come out better. I think with you, every exchange, whether it's in the courtroom or it's out, you're focused on making sure people leave you better than you met them.
Yes.
And it comes through so clear. And that's why it was so important that I talked to you so that people could see the passion that you have for changing lives. And that is why I'm such a big proponent of making sure that this gets out, that it's not going to be just drama, that there's going to be healing and change.
There is, and I'm putting my heart and soul in it, and people, they don't understand what's going on as sometimes I'm up on that bench, Nikki, and I am trying to get the facts. I am trying to remain impartial. And I literally am holding back tears. Yesterday, court was in session, and I left that bench and I sat down in my dressing room and I just cried. There was a young woman that had done everything she could to find out whether or not a certain man was her father. I thought they looked alike. This is the interesting thing about our particular show. I don't know the results. So as I'm fact finding, as judge and trying to figure out how this situation arrived here in paternity court, I don't know the answer. So when I reveal those DNA results, I'm finding out along with the person. And Nikki, I'm usually right. I usually can say this looks like it's going to be. Oh no, that's not the father. I have it in my mind. Yesterday, Nikki, I just knew this man was this girl's father, and I had set my heart up for a reunion.
Right.
I knew I was waiting for these two people to hug and say we found each other, and it was not her father. I held it in. I talked to her about being strong. I went over to her, got on my knees. I got up, went back, got to my dressing room, sat on my couch, and just cried. I hurt so bad for her. I invest in these people. I want them to understand that I care. The whole staff here at Paternity Court, we care. We were here until 8, almost 9 o'clock at night with one family last night, making sure they were okay because they didn't receive the news they all thought they were going to receive.
Right.
I take family too seriously. I sit here as a product of, I knew my mother. I knew my father. I know my mother and father. I had them. They loved me unconditionally. And each day as I sit on this bench, it's a reminder to not take that for granted, to understand that there's a part of my puzzle, there's a piece to a puzzle that I had that other people didn't have. And that puzzle piece is the reason why I sit here today, the reason why I have the level of self-confidence, the level of knowing, the level of understanding that I have. But there are people in this world that don't have that.
Exactly.
And if I can be a tool to help them get that missing piece or understand why they don't have it and how they can begin to live without it, that for me is a part of fulfilling my purpose in life, and I'm glad to do it. And I just want to say this because that name, when you hear Paternity Court, when our my executive producer called me, David Armour, and said, I've got this project and I feel like you'll be perfect for it. I want you to be the judge of this courtroom. He said Paternity Court, and I thought to myself, oh, well, you need to tell me more. Because I have come too far. I have worked too hard in my life to empower people. And there is not a green dollar worth me destroying everything I believe God has put me on earth to do. And he had to tell me more. And when he began to speak, he said, I want to give a legal and empowering message, a perspective to this issue. This is not a joking issue. This is not a small claim. This is not, oh, did this person pay their rent, or do you still owe the car repair place, or did you pay your bridal decorator the amount of money? These are huge claims. This is, I have lived my life not knowing. Someone is keeping a secret from me and it's affecting me in everything I do. And I need an answer, and I need a place where I can go. And lastly, I'm so proud of this courtroom because it's a place that people can come. Let's face it, a lot of people don't deal with their paternity issues or their legal issues in this country because, quite frankly, it's financially draining, emotionally draining. You're stuck in our court system for 2 years. You can't take off work to be at court. You don't know what to do. This is almost a more efficient resolution to people's problems that allow. It's a place where they can come where it doesn't cost them a ton of money. A lot of people can't figure out their paternity issues because they can't afford to hire a lawyer to even go to court. So I'm proud of the fact that this is a place, a responsible place, where people can bring their struggles, their secrets, and they can sit in this courtroom, stand in this courtroom, I should say, in front of me, and I'm honored that they trust me with those secrets and that shame. And I'm not going to let them down. I'm not going to let you all down. I'm not going to let myself down. When they leave that courtroom, I have to be confident that they have the tools they need, that at least I've given them a word, that when they leave there, they know that life can be better because of this truth. That you cannot base a powerful, strong foundation on lies.
Yes, ma'am. So we have to end.
Okay. I can go on.
I know you can, and I love that in you.
About this.
But tell us how we can find Paternity Court in our city.
Absolutely. You can go to facebook.com/paternity court to our Facebook page, and it will give you all of your local listings where we will air in your city. And please follow us on Twitter at Paternity Court, or me at Lauren Lake ENT, Lauren Lake Enterprises. And I look forward to chatting with you and keeping this dialogue alive so we can empower families to be closer and empower men to be better fathers and women to be better mothers.
All right, my dear. Well, I will be tuning in. I am so proud of you, and I'm so glad that we got a chance to talk.
Thank you for continuing to inspire me and all of us. You are such a light. Thank you.
Thank you,
Say
Lauren.
hello to everyone, to Tom and everybody.
I will. We appreciate you.